Boker Tov and Chag Sameach. As you know, Pesach is a time for asking questions, and this challenging time is no exception. As part of the Seder, it's traditional that the youngest ask the 4 questions, but given our new reality, it might be any one of us who will do so this year. And in this respect, the first of these questions will take on a new and different relevance. Ma nishtana halayla hazeh mikol halaylot. Why is this night different from all other nights? It's the question that all of us will be asking as we sit around the table, whether it's just ourselves, or us and our spouse, or our immediate family. It's the question we've been asking for not only this Pesach, but each and every day for the last several weeks, and which we will continue to ask until we are allowed to be together once again. Each of us can list the ways in which our world is now different. Not going to work, lining up to get into the grocery store, schooling not in the classroom but online, not getting together to play mahjong or sports, whatever it might be. And for many of us, it's the reality of not being able to daven together and enter into the shul. It's the most painful reality for me personally of this moment in time. It's on all of our minds, and it's the question that I know all of us will be asking this Pesach. Traditionally, at our family Seder, we would ask another question to stimulate additional conversation and discussion. One, which was always a favorite, would be asked when we recite the 10 plagues and spill a drop of wine or grape juice onto the plate. It would go something like this. We just recited the 10 biblical plagues. However, can you think of some modern plagues that afflict us? Some of the answers that would be offered from those around the table would be the plagues of homelessness, poverty, abuse, or loneliness. The list really is endless. But if you were to ask the question at your Seder table this year, the answer would be obvious. Coronavirus, COVID, the pandemic which has ravaged not only our community, but which has gripped the entire world. But in response, I know that we might follow up with another question, namely, why are we being afflicted? What did we do to deserve the death that has killed so many around the world and uprooted our way of life? We know the reason for the biblical plagues, Pharaoh's refusal to let our ancestors have us go free. But for us, how might we answer the question regarding this particular plague? My friends, there is no answer, no real answer, but I do know that what we are now experiencing is not a punishment by God. It's not a sign that we have sinned or done anything wrong. And I certainly don't believe that God works in such a way. However, at this Pesach, when we recall and reenact our people's redemption from slavery into freedom, we might reflect on our freedom. So what do I mean by that? We have a choice. We have the freedom to decide how we will respond to the plague through which we are now living. I'm reminded of the words of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, a doctor, and the author of the book, Man's Search for Meaning. And Viktor Frankl said, "We don't get to choose our difficulties, but we do have the freedom to select our responses. Let me repeat that. We don't get to choose our difficulties, but we do have the freedom to select our responses. My friends, Viktor Frankl is absolutely correct. We don't choose this plague, but how we respond to it, that is the freedom we now have thrust upon us, particularly now at this Pesach. Have you been, for example, self-isolating when appropriate? Do you wear a mask and gloves when you do go out? And remember, it's not just for your own safety, but to keep your loved ones and community safe that we do so. That's our freedom to do that. Another example. Have you reached out to family and friends who are lonely, isolated, and fearful? Look at your list of contacts and call, Zoom, or FaceTime to see how they are. Are you doing that? At Adath Israel, there's a group of some 20 volunteers who have been given a list of 50 names each of members who they are calling, about 1,000 families in total, to ask how they are, to tell them that we at Adath Israel are thinking about them, that they are not alone. Another sign of freedom. Have you decreased the physical social distancing with others that a spiritual coming together might have? Again, we still can't come together physically, but spiritually and emotionally, we certainly can come as close as possible. Have you expressed your thanks to a healthcare professional you know for what they are doing on behalf of all of us? My friends, you have the freedom, you have the choice now more than ever to make a difference in the lives of each other, to take these opportunities to do these things and others as to how we will find redemption and make of this situation in which we now find ourselves one that will bring deeper meaning and purpose to our lives, to our communities, and to the world in which we live. Finally, my friends, one last question. How will you answer the question at next year's Seder table when we are gathered together with family and friends once more? When you are asked, how did you respond to the plague? What did you do? My friends, please remember, you have the freedom now to live the answer to that question that all of us will be asked. Chag Kasher v'Sameach, a happy, safe, and healthy Pesach.